Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and I'm proud to announce we're at Milken Global Conference 2024 in Beverly Hills, California, and I have Cheryl Evans. I'm welcoming Cheryl Evans back to the show. So first off, hey, Cheryl, just want to say welcome back.
Thank you. Happy to be here with you.
All right, so much to cover. It's been a year since we've seen each other last. The first time we met, you were on the show, so I'm excited. Let's just start with this. Give me some updates. What's been going on over the last year?
Yes, I'm the Director of Lifetime Financial Security at the Milken Institute, and I lead a program that focuses on ensuring that everyone is financially secure throughout their lives and into retirement. So it's a little more broad than retirement itself. But the biggest thing that we accomplished as a team is releasing a comprehensive research report, which can be found online. I'll give a little plug to that, which is called Shifting the Retirement Paradigm, Moving Towards Lifetime Financial Security. We also issued an executive summary because it has about 218 footnotes, and it's quite long. But it's a comprehensive piece.
It's comprehensive, though, yeah.
That highlights most of the factors, not all, that impact people's ability to be financially secure, and things that could be policy changes, things that can make a difference. So we focus on things like inequity in savings. Women, we know, save, and people of color less. We start out with some statistics, which are fairly daunting regarding the lack of saving overall in retirement vehicles, for example. About 25% of people are saving at all for retirement. And then we have about 40% have access to an employee-sponsored plan, which leaves a lot of people out. So that, coupled with an aging population and longevity, really pushed us to really think about, creating this program that's been in existence for 2 years. So that report is extremely broad. It highlights things like fintech solutions that are helping people to engage with finance, state plans that are coming in where people who are gig workers don't have retirement savings.
Yeah.
So those type of things. We focus on behavioral biases, people's inability to envision their future selves at a young age, so they kind of are distant from that, so they don't save as early as they should, policy considerations, and many more. So it ends with a list of considerations for people who are thinking about investing for the first time, like what things could you think about? Using your home as an asset, making sure you understand Social Security early. So there's a lot of factors that come into play when you think about people being financially secure. So that's the big thing that we've done.
Yeah.
We're also engaged with a number of financial firms, which was discussed today. We had a retirement CEO panel with Visunda Brown Duckett from TIA, John Carter from Nationwide Financial, Penny Pennington from Edward Jones, and Will Fuller from Transamerica. And we're engaged with a number of firms in dialogue and policy considerations on creating lifetime income. So in-plan streams of income embedded in a 401k, giving everyone that income that you might get from a pension, but many people, or most now, aren't getting a pension. So we're doing that, and we're doing a variety of things. We held a joint event with the EBRI, which is the Employee Benefit Research Institute, which will be an annual retirement symposium at the Kennedy Center. And so we're doing a number of different things and speaking about the topic. And I just came off of a panel, our public panel.
So not busy at all is what I'm hearing.
No, we're just sitting around. No, so we're doing a lot in the space. And I like the work very much because it's impactful. And as I said on our public panel, it cuts across all demographics and applies to everyone.
The report that you mentioned, how do people access it? Like, how is that?
Yeah. It's a PDF on the Milken Institute website, but you can just literally type in Cheryl Evans, Shifting the Retirement Paradigm, Moving Towards Lifetime Financial Security, and it will pull it up. So it's online.
Now, I know, and for everybody watching, just so you know, we'll put links to that in the show notes so that you can just click on the link and check it out. And so was there anything, obviously this is a big report, as you mentioned, a couple hundred footnotes. Was there anything that stuck out to you, or like a surprise, or just something that you were like, like one of those moments?
There are a number of those. The thing that was the most surprising as we dug into the statistics on longer working lives. When you think about people who maybe haven't saved enough for retirement, the answer is universally among retirement experts to work longer. But there's a book called Overtime by Beth Truesdale and another person whose name's left my head. I apologize, Lisa Berkman, and data from the federal government, a variety of sources that supported what I sort of suspected, but the statistics were worse. So in other words, most people are not going to be able to work to 65 or 67 as they would like. Most people are going to be at least pushed out of one job in their late 50s or maybe early 60s, and only 10% are ever going to go on to earn the same amount of money. And of the people in their late 50s, only about 35%, I think, is the stat, are consistently employed. And then we have some who are sporadically employed. So the idea that people can work longer to save more, it's not really
like the data's
there.
not matching.
It's not matching. And then there's some people who cannot physically do the job. If you're a paramedic, I use that example because I have a family friend who's one. So we want people to be able to transition to training roles. So those longer working life statistics were disturbing fairly. And, we're encouraging employers, our sort of fix, if you will, is encouraging employers to include age. When you hear about DE&I, people aren't really talking about age as a factor, right? And encouraging the development of generational workforces and using maybe AI to transition people routinely into training roles so they can work longer. Because again, we have an aging population, people are living longer, they can't be pushed out of work in the late 50s. So that was the most surprising thing. Also, I was a little surprised to learn how much financial services firms are actually doing to help educate people. They have suites of services, platforms, and those type of things. So
that's evolved. That's evolved. I feel like over the years, especially with this transfer of wealth. Yeah, it's evolved.
There's a lot out there. So the information is out there. People don't always know about it. Yeah. But there's a lot of, Bank of America has a wonderful suite of services. So does Edward Jones and other firms. I mean, just almost
that's
all
exciting.
Firms. Yeah. And then there are straight fintech firms like Betterment and others. On our panel that we just had, we featured 2 companies. Then we featured the head of FINRA, Alex Rodriguez was on it, as well as Teresa Guillarducci, a retirement experts. But one of the companies is called Steady, and they help gig workers get jobs, but they also educate them on finance. Sure helps people with student loan debt who may be even older, who took on their children's student loan debts or are paying their own. So there's a lot of innovative products out there. And the last one I'll mention is a suite of services by some firms who help people visualize the non-retirement aspects of savings. So in other words, to know how much you need to save for retirement, you need to know what your life's going to look like.
Just goals.
T. Rowe Price has a visualization platform where you visualize what your life's going to walk through.
I like that.
Right? Because Scott Galloway's spoken about and written about the fact that his father lives well but doesn't have a lot of money because his costs are low.
Yeah.
Right? So those are some of the surprising things. And also the last thing, I'm adding one more.
I'll do it. Come on, give it to me. I only get to see you once a year. Come on.
It's state plans, facilitated plans. They're about 19 or maybe 20 now. So the states are stepping in where people who don't have access to a retirement savings plan. And so those states are requiring every employer to kind of opt in or be in their plan. And so that's key because that's helping gig workers and people with 2 jobs. The nature of work is changing, right? And so that's people aren't going to have that one job where they get a pension. So that was a key point as well.
Talk to me a little bit more about the panel, like some of the takeaways for those that couldn't attend. Like, what were some of the takeaways?
Yeah, I mean, it was called "Moving the Needle Towards Lifetime Financial Security" with the name sort of embedded in it. But it was a great dialogue. I mean, Teresa Guillarducci, for example, is solely a retirement expert. So she came up with, discussed, I should say, highlighted some legislation that she's putting forth and not really sponsoring, but touting, because she's not in Congress, but that would create a new system that's like Social Security that would give people more of a social safety net. So that there were some policy considerations. It was really the notion of how do we reach people where they are. So that notion of where are people? Do you need to go out to the community to get people to engage with finance? How do we get them to, I refer to it this way, to turn towards finance when they don't have a lot of money and you really can't think of savings. It's kind of like out here, you don't want to look at it like I can't barely make my car payment. How can I possibly save? So it's really, there was a lot of discussion on engagement, what we can do to get people to think about finance, engage with it. We talked about shame as an issue for people who don't have a lot of money. And the Thunder Brown Duckett mentioned that there can be shame around money if you don't have a lot of it. And so that was an interesting point. But FINRA is doing some great work in the education space. Alex Rodriguez is reaching out to a lot of people in underserved communities. But he also talked about his own life experience in his career. And he does a unique thing where he talks with people who've had a huge amount of money, athletes, and lost it all. And that can apply to people who didn't make a lot of money. They can still lose it all. You don't have to have made $100 million. And so he's helping those people to learn about finance. He equated it to like a language that you don't know about, like chess. Like they're playing chess and you're playing checkers and you don't know the terms, so you can't even play.
Yeah.
So I thought
if you don't know what compound interest works, if you don't know how it works, if you don't know the numbers, if you don't even know what it means, then that's a thing.
Right. And so that was a kind of an interesting point as well.
Don't have the language.
Yeah, the student loan burden, KB Killebird was talking about that as well, that they go into connect with employers and help them to reach out to people who have too much student loan debt, to that shame piece. Most people are going to go to their employer and say, I need more money because I can't pay my student loans.
Right.
So there are a number of innovative things out there. I don't know that everyone's aware of them. But we get to the broader issue of, do we need to change our system in some way? I'm not entirely sure we're really going to blow it all up and change it into something else.
No, of course.
Like Teresa talks a bit about that, but she has valid points. But I'm pleased that we're working with a number of financial firms on this notion, which Larry Fink came out and talked about, changing the system. TIA has new products, Nationwide Financial. Others do, working with Empower and other firms. It's an annuity-like product within a 401k, so that would often give you the pot of money that if you think of as your 401k, but a stream of income guaranteed for life. And if we could make that universal, that would be really a game changer for a lot of people. So I'm excited about that. Yeah.
And a lot of these changes, when I think about just the evolution of what it's looked like beyond retirement or retirement, and what all of that, it's being redefined, not just with the workforce, but just the products, like everything, and all of these different factors that are playing, like whether it's the companies creating the products, whether it's the education, like all of that, like all of this is intertwined to get great outcomes, which is essentially what's the outcome we want, is to live well, right? Like that's the big outcome, and further into our lives.
Yes, and I mentioned at the outset that the Milken Institute, so I'll give a little plug for that, is building the Milken Center for Advancing the American Dream, which is a museum-like building that Mike Milken envisioned 10, 15 years ago. It's in Washington, where our office is, so it will be an interactive, really high-tech museum focusing on health, finance, and philanthropy. And underpinning that is the American dream, is being financially secure, right? Without that, you can't really build that American dream. So we were focusing on how can we make sure that everyone lives the American dream, not just in the end, at the end of their work life,
of course,
but throughout their lives. So there are a lot of factors that come into play, but that sort of notion of the American dream is kind of a thread that runs through the Milken Institute as well. So I'm excited to be doing this work that really applies to everyone.
Amazing. So final question, Cheryl, just a little bit of a fun one. What's been one of your favorite moments at the conference this year so far? And I know we still have a whole nother day left and a whole half a day here, but just so far, what's been one of your favorite moments?
Since I'm working and focusing on finance, I'll say a couple of things. One was getting the retirement CEOs together, because what they did was they talked about working together in ways that are not competitive to change the landscape, recognizing that there is a crisis of sorts with an aging population. This is peak 65, 12,000 baby boomers are turning 65 a day this year.
Amazing.
And so they were coming together saying, we need to work together. We have these kind of products. Edward Jones has these. So that was exciting. And I would have to say, seeing Elon Musk, I hadn't seen and heard from him. So I wanted to hear what he had to say. Mike Milken asked him questions regarding his own quotes. He was a little funny and self-deprecating, but it was interesting to hear his vision, what he's focusing on, because he's a visionary. So that was kind of cool as well. But there were so many amazing speakers. We have more here than we've ever had, over like 1,030 speakers.
Wow. Yeah.
I thought it was 900. It's 1,030. I was just told by one of our events.
Wasn't it last year like 400 and something? 500?
No, I don't even. 700 or 800.
Oh my gosh, I can't
So
even.
we're up to 1,000, and so it's bigger, better.
I know we're taking up the hotel next door too now.
Well, it's
I
under
saw
construction.
that.
Yeah, but we are doing that, I will say that the range of topics we've taken on. We've added gun violence into our repertoire.
Oh wow.
To address that, and Rich DeTizio has said to the staff and to others. There was a session last year as well. People asked him, what is the question you get the most when you travel the world? And he said, why are you letting your kids be shot in school and doing nothing other countries have been saying? And that's tough to hear. And so we're thinking about that and putting that on stage and, bringing people together to focus on that. But it's everything from happiness to gun violence to a wellness to, a lot of
one of my
finance.
favorite parts about the conference is that you can,
diversity.
when you're looking at the programming, and it always stays not, I think, even in front of the trends, in my opinion. Like, this is where I see it.
No, I think that is the goal. Like right now, we're missing Magic Johnson, who's speaking on a future of sports panel, and I wanted to see him. But, so there's so many things that you turn, like, I'd like to see this or that, and there's almost certainly more than I can see, but things are online. And we keep it that way. But there's also the opportunity for so many people to gather and connect with people they wouldn't meet otherwise, which is the value I think a lot of people get from being here. It's very exciting.
Yes,
So thank
I
you.
agree. And Cheryl, I just want to say thank you again for coming, for doing a repeat visit here. This is our year 2. Can't wait till next year. I'm going to invite you back for sure, see what's been going on. If it's to sign off here, if somebody wants to, let's say it one more time, if they want to get the report, if they want to follow the Institute's work at all, in general, how do they do that?
Go to milkeninstitute.org, and then you can type in for the report, Shifting the Retirement Paradigm, Moving Towards Lifetime Financial Security, which is quite a mouthful. But if you just type in Shifting the Retirement Paradigm and Cheryl Evans, you'll pull up the report. And there's an executive summary as well, so you don't have to read the whole thing if you don't want to. But thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Amazing. Thank you. And for everybody watching, thank you for tuning in again. We'll put the link to the report and all that good stuff in the show notes, and definitely go grab a copy.
Thank you.